right.
Gay dads and kids harassed and called pedophiles on Amtrak. Neil Broverman, the editorial director for print at Pride Media, and his husband, Robbie Pierce, were on a train along the California coast this week with their 2 children. They were unexpectedly approached by a fellow passenger. On Twitter, Pierce posted, quote, "Well, that didn't take long. We decided to take a trip on Amtrak with the kids for spring break. 9 hours into a pleasant ride, a man was suddenly standing next to me, shouting across me at my 6-year-old son, 'Remember what I told you. They stole you. They're pedophiles,' end quote."
This is just absolutely revolting to me.
That's
this
disgusting.
entire story. I don't know why people have to go out of their way to be mean.
How is their life directly impacting yours? That is everything that goes through my mind when I hear stories about this and when I experience things like this. How is my existence, how is their existence affecting your life? How is it directly impacting your existence? And if you know nothing about their home lives and the only thing you see is and understand about this situation is what you perceive and what you want to perceive, what gives you the right to comment about it? Nothing. You don't have that right because it's not your life. It's theirs.
Well, the other thing to me, too, about this is these are 2 kids that needed a family, and they have a family.
Exactly.
What does this guy, whatever his name was, that was shouting to the kids, like what?
Would we rather them in abusive foster care systems?
Right. And you know what's even more ridiculous is that they say, again, you're harming these children by being gay and being their parents. But then this man, prior to screaming at them, approached this boy when he was their son when he was going to the bathroom by himself. Approached him and said all of these things that he was sort of alluding to when he said, "Remember what I told you."
Right.
And approaching this boy in the bathroom.
If anything, that's borderline pedophilic.
You want to talk about encroaching on children in a really
uncomfortable manner. Yeah.
And again, this is hard. It is spurred by this extremely harmful rhetoric that we are seeing, and it's not even, they're not even making an effort to pretend that they are not homophobic. And what I've noted recently, especially because I've realized that Republicans or conservative people who specifically that are homophobic have recognized that homophobia is a term that they don't want to associate themselves with. They've recognized that that homophobic has a negative connotation and that they don't want to be associated with. But then they still hate gay people
and make decisions that
and are blatantly homophobic and harass gay people for existing in their space, right? And then you say that they're homophobic and they're like, well, that's not homophobic. Yes, it is. That's been homophobic as long as the word homophobic has existed. And because they know now that it's something that has this negative connotation, they don't want to be associated with it. If you do not want to be called homophobic, stop being homophobic, and it's as simple as that. And that's something that I think is this new sort of dynamic that we're dealing with, especially, is this detachment from recognizing that.
I mean, this is what happens when we, for one, have this kind of very, very vocal minority that is like vastly overrepresented in politics, whose whole marketing strategy and selling point has become overt, direct, and highly visual bigotry. And then they also need to conduct the balancing act of, well, I know that most people wouldn't be okay if I just outright said, let's put the queers in concentration camps, But I know that I also can find support and power in a base that is fed by hateful rhetoric, that can find refuge in that small, angry little part of themselves that is so afraid of what is not them and what is so afraid of what they have taught is the other and is foreign and is coming to corrupt you, to corrupt your children.
Isolate the other. Makes it easier to take them down.
Yeah. It's repulsive. We are alienating and devaluing the lives of millions of people. We see that in our legislation and in the rhetoric of our politicians. And they say, oh no, it's not about that. We don't hate the gays. Look, I have a gay friend. Look, there's this twink politician that said some Nazi shit one time. Like, when we have this direct action in legislature. Oh no, it doesn't translate to direct hatefulness in person. It does, though. It impacts our culture. It impacts how people think about themselves. It normalizes that degree of repulsive entitlement and hatefulness. And it says that that is okay. It signs off of that, and it enshrines that in what we have chosen to represent America.
Oh, wait, what are you talking about? We're Fox News. We're not transphobic because we have Caitlyn Jenner.
Love you, Caitlyn.
Caitlyn. So there are two really important things that the right and the Republican majority have working on their side. They're really good at controlling language, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Parents' Rights Bill. It's not really what it's about, but okay, that's what we're going to call it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, they had 4 years of a Trump presidency which emboldened them, which said, oh, you know what, it's okay to do these things because that's the leadership that we have. And so moving forward, the only thing that we can do is try and reclaim the language, call them out on their empty phrases and their misleading language, and then vote, right? And I know that, I think, Max, you're the only one old enough here to vote.
Yeah, I can vote in the next election, but that's...
Well, get yourselves out there.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ